Given that tan A is 3/4, where A is between 180 and 360, so A is a reflex angle, and sine B is 12/13, where B is between 90 and 180, and so B is an obtuse angle, we want to find the following. Well, first of all, let's work with these and see what we can get. So if we have our cast diagram, we know the tangent is 3/4 and it's in this region down here. But 3/4 is positive, so that tells us we're in the T quadrant. In other words, this angle here is the angle A, and this is 3. That's the opposite, that's 4, because remember it would be based on this angle just here, this acute angle. And then we have a 3, 4, 5 triangle. That means sine A would be negative 3/5. Negative, remember, because we're in the T quadrant. Cos A would be negative 4/5. And of course, we were given that tan A was 3/4. Now let's consider the angle B. Now we know that that's obtuse. And of course, this is the angle B, and it will be based on this associated acute angle here. So sine B is 12/13, and that means that the opposite here is 12. The hypotenuse is 13, and then either you know the 5, 12, 13 triangle, or you use Pythagoras' theorem to find that this side is 5. So we were given the sine B. Remember, we're in the S quadrant, so the cosine is going to be negative 5/13 because we're in the S quadrant, and tan would be negative 12/5. That's opposite over adjacent, but we're in the S quadrant. So now we know all the things we need to know in order to go ahead and do A, B, and C. So if we consider A, which was cos A minus B, which is cos A, cos B plus sine A, sine B, and all we need to do now is substitute in the values that we have. So negative 4/5 times negative 5/13, add negative 3/5 times 12/13, which gives us 20/65, take away 36/65, which is negative 16/65. Tan A plus B is tan A plus tan B over 1 minus tan A tan B. Substitute in the values. So 3/4 add negative 12/5 over 1, take away 3/4 times negative 12/5. The top is 3/4 take away 12/5, and the bottom is going to end up being 1 plus 36/20. Using a common denominator here of 20, we've got 15/20, take away 48/20. And of course, 1 is 20/20, so the bottom is 56/20. That gives me negative 33/20 over 56/20. We're dividing fractions, so we turn the bottom one upside down and multiply. The 20s cancel, and we end up with negative 33 over 56. You could just cancel the 20s here if you like. Now we want cot A minus B, but let's start with tan A minus B. So that's tan A minus tan B over 1 plus tan A tan B. And that means the cot, we can just flip the fraction and put the 1 plus tan A tan B on the top and tan A minus tan B on the bottom, and substitute in our familiar values from over here. So that gives us 1 take away 36/20 on the top, and the bottom is going to, with the minus minus here, end up being 3/4 add 12/5. Now remember that 1 is 20 over 20, 20/20ths. So the top's going to be negative 16 over 20. Using the common denominator of 20 on the bottom here, we're going to get 15 over 20 add 48 over 20. So that's negative 16 over 20 over 63 over 20. And again, the 20s can cancel. And so we end up with negative 16 over 63.